Alright, we're going to do some ordering fractions and decimals examples. To start, I'm going to be using method 2, which is our common denominator method. So I have an example here. There's 1/4, 1/10, 3/20, and 4/100. We're going to organize those from least to greatest. So looking at this, our common denominator method is when you use equivalent fractions, equal fractions, in order to get a common denominator. So looking at all of these fractions, we need to think, is there a way that I could take these fractions and make them have a common denominator? Often, you'll want to look at what the biggest fraction is, the biggest denominator, and see if you can make the other ones turn into that, because I think it's easier to multiply, and you won't run into the problem where you're trying to divide a number that won't work. So looking at this, we've got 20. Can that turn into 100? Yeah, it can. So let's do that. What would we multiply 20 by to get to 100? If we count that up, there's 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. There's 5 times got me to 100. So we're going to multiply each of these by 5. And we're going to end up with 3 times 5 is 15, and the denominator is 100. 4 over 100, it's still there. What about 10? Can that become 100? Yeah, that one's pretty easy. We just multiply top and bottom by 10. We get 10 over 100. And 4, can that turn into 100? We know in money 4 quarters equals 100. How much is a quarter? It's 25 cents. So 25 over 100. Now, organizing from least to greatest should be pretty easy. We find the one. Now that we have the same denominator, we just have to compare the numerators. Whichever has the least, we're going to put first. So 4 over 100. Then the next least would be 10 over 100. The next one after would be 15 over 100. And 25 over 100 is our last one. This example, you'll notice that they're all proper fractions, which means we didn't need to do a step between these two where we change it to either mixed fractions or to getting rid of all mixed fractions. So we didn't have to do that. I'll do a more complicated example next. We have 4 over 100 right here, which was written as 4 over 100 to start with. So we need to put this back how it was to start. 10 over 100 was this fraction right here, which was 1/10 to start with. So we need to just write that down because it asked us to put these ones in order from least to greatest, not these equivalent fractions. We need to find the exact ones. 15 over 100 was this one here, which is 3 over 20. And finally, our last fraction, 25 over 100, was right over here, which was equal to 1 over 4, 1/4. So this is your answer. So we find an equivalent fraction with a common denominator is our first step. So change these into equivalent fractions. So this is equal to this is equal to this is equal to this, and this is equal to this. The next step, which we didn't actually have to do here, would be to make them proper and improper fractions, getting rid of mixed fractions. We didn't have to do that here. The third step would be to order by numerator from least to greatest once we have already gotten the same common denominator. So I put least to greatest. And then finally, we changed them back to the equivalent fractions that they were started with. So if there's decimals up here, we might have to put them back to decimals. If they were a mixed fraction, we put them back to a mixed fraction. It's whatever these 4 ones, those are what have to be in your answer, just in a different order, sometimes the same order if they were already ordered.